Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Brendan Clark, chairman of the Barnstable Youth Commission, and Matthew Hersey, a member of the Youth Commission, and Barnstable Town Councilor Jen Cullum, who is a liaison to the Youth Commission and the Barnstable Town Council. Welcome to the show to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we're talking about the Barnstable Youth Commission, which is involved this year in a whole range of activities, and we want to talk about those in detail. But let's start with an overview of what the Youth Commission is and how it fits in with town government. Jen, can you give us a background on that?
Sure. So whereas Student Council typically answers to the school committee, the Youth Commission answers directly to the town council. Now, that is a really clear difference in that students can actually affect change through ordinances and really grab the attention of the decision makers in the town versus the people that control the schools only. So it's kind of an interesting arm that we have as a town council and as a town. And recently, last year, actually, with Sam Spillane as leader, and Brendan was very much involved in all of the changes that we did. I think we made some really positive strides and showed people exactly how much the Youth Commission can really affect our community and make positive changes. And I think we really showed a big burst of energy there and a lot of force in the community.
Now, Brendan, you're going to be a junior this year at the high school.
Correct.
Is that right? And then how did you get involved with the Youth Commission?
I got involved while speaking passionately in the library about a subject last February. And Patty Machado was there as well, and the former youth director for the town was there. And they overheard and invited me to join, and since then I've been there ever since. And
I've noticed you've been attending meetings of the Barnstable Town Council. Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. You've decided to that because that's a big commitment. Even for the town councilors, that's a big commitment. But for someone to come in, tell me about that.
We kind of created some liaison positions on the Youth Commission. We have someone going to the Rec Commission and someone going to Human Services because we wanted to have Youth Commission contacts in other commissions. I kind of volunteered myself for a town council position because I really wanted to learn more about that and learn more about the process, and decided to start going to all the meetings.
And some of those meetings go pretty late.
Pretty late.
So you have to get your work done and your homework and all that. It's a big commitment, so good for you for doing that. Now, I think that you also have an internship at Town Hall. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so tell me what you're doing at Town Hall.
Well, I'm working in the Office of Procurement and Risk Management with David Anthony and doing just a whole variety of tasks. I'm not sure what I can and cannot disclose, but just all sorts of work and really things that put me in perspective and contact with a lot of people across the town.
And I know the town administration is very impressed. I think I heard the town manager, Tom Lynch, say you'll know more about municipal government than your teachers will if you continue to study that in college. So kudos to you on that. Now, Matthew, tell me how you got involved with the Youth Commission.
Well, actually, about a year or so ago, maybe a year and a half ago, Jen approached me and my dad and invited me to join the Youth Commission just to kind of add a new perspective to it. And I've really enjoyed it, and I just feel like it's been a reasonably big part of my life and a big commitment, and I really enjoy it. So.
And what year are you at the school?
I'm going to be a sophomore this year.
Okay, you're going to be a sophomore, and I think your father was involved in town government?
Right, yeah. He was a town councilor for a few years.
And so did that kind of get you interested in municipal government?
Well, yeah, kind of, and then that's how we knew Jen through. We knew Jen through him knowing her through the council, so that's how it happened.
Now, I first noticed that the Youth Commission was becoming very active and involved when Jen came to me earlier this year and told me about the Youth Summit that you folks put on. Tell me about the Youth Summit, how that all came about, and how you put that together. Brendan?
Well, the Youth Summit, you have to give quite a lot of credit to Jen. She really brought the idea to the table. But I think we all embraced the idea, and we all embraced the idea of finding some way that we could help them help the students of Barnstable in a larger way. So I think we really saw that as an opportunity to make a big comeback and kind of reform what the commission had become. And we took that opportunity and put it together.
Now, Jen, what impressed you about this event? Because I know you were very involved and you were thinking that the students really did a good job of organizing it.
Well, the real genesis of it was that, for all the boards and the committees that I sit on, everybody's talking about the health and well-being of the youth, but there's never one youthful voice at the table. And so the real beginnings of this entire youth commission becoming strong again and kind of navigating its way through our society is really based in the fact that we have no youthful voices at the table. So I wanted to create a group that had that power to really affect change for the better for their own generation and for the generations to come, because sooner or later they'll turn out. I mean, Brendan will be graduating in a year and a half, and we'll have new leadership. So we're constantly turning the page on this, and every day there's new challenges. So I just thought it's super important that kids talk to kids about things that they may find challenging in high school or eighth grade, and ways to kind of take the edge off.
Matthew, what did you think of that event this winter?
I mean, it was a really cool idea in our mind. We kind of brought it to the 7th graders because we saw a lack of awareness in that demographic, basically, because you have Challenge Day for the freshmen in freshman year, but after that they've already been through about a year or so in the high school, and if you can get to the 7th graders and give them that information and those tools, they'll be much better prepared for their time in the high school, we feel.
Now, Brendan, do you think that you accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish with the Youth Summit, and do you think you'll do that again next year?
Well, we are definitely planning it again next year. We're looking for maybe a change in venue and other new additions and new people to come back and speak, perhaps bring back some of the old. But I think we really felt like we accomplished a lot, and we got a lot of publicity for the commission and got a lot of good feedback. We had people who were potentially interested in the commission who came to us recently. We had a cookout a few days ago and got to meet some interested applicants. So I think we really got to accomplish a lot, and it was definitely a source of pride for us.
It sounds like it was a great event. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. We're talking about the Barnstable Youth Commission. I'm here with Brendan Clark and Matthew Hersey from the Youth Commission and Barnstable Town Councilor Jen Cullum, who is the council's liaison to the Youth Commission. Now, the Youth Commission is getting involved with the issue of a new dangerous drug that has been appearing not just locally but across the country. Jen, I think you first brought this issue to the attention of the Town Council. Can you sort of frame the issue for us and tell us what this is and how you decided to bring in the Youth Commission to help with this?
Sure. So the whole topic was actually brought to my attention by the Community Impact Unit. Jen Parkas-Ellis, who's one of the officers on that unit, brought it up and said, we have heroin and it's terrible, but we also have synthetic marijuana or spice, and that's also terrible because it's not illegal. It's, and it could be everywhere. And we have a lot of challenges. We can't automatically put someone in protective custody like we can if they're drunk. And it can ruin your brain in a day. Like, it's really an intense thing. And so, upon closer examination, you realize that it affects, that good or bad decisions start really young. They happen really young. And so, who better than the youth to kind of carry the torch for that? So because it's not an illegal substance, it seemed that we needed to have a different way of dealing with the problem. So you'll see that this week on the Town Council agenda, there's the first reading of an ordinance to prohibit the sale and use of spice. But it's a really insidious thing, because if you see the packaging on these things, I mean, one of the packages is an Angry Birds package that was the exact picture that I had on Dante, my son's fifth birthday invitation. So they're definitely targeting children. Scooby-Doo is one of them. And what it is a plant product that's sprayed with some sort of synthetic chemicals, and when it's smoked, it can cause severe and permanent brain damage and addiction. And so, anyway, I'll let Brendan speak to our meetings, how they've come along so far, and who's been involved, and what the Youth Commission might end up doing. And
I want to hear first from you, Brendan, about why you decided to get involved with this issue.
Jen invited me to some of the meetings, and I thought it was a great opportunity for the Commission to once again reach out to people and get involved in something with a lot of other community organizations and kind of form those connections which might have been missing. So I think that was the the driver.
And what will the Youth Commission be doing with the issue then?
Well, the Youth Commission, pending that the sale continues, we're going to do a sticker campaign of sorts. Hopefully have someone on the commission design us some artful stickers and have them printed up, which will sort of serve as a youth seal of approval for any business throughout the town, and give them to convenience stores and those who have stopped selling synthetic marijuana to kind of say the youth believes that this business supports the interests of children in the town.
So you're doing a sticker campaign, and when will that start up?
I think we're going to see following. We have another meeting coming up mid-August here, and see where that stands and see what sort of actions have been taken by the police, and then go from there.
So the police actually went into all of the independently owned convenience stores or sent a letter and asked them for their voluntary compliance in not selling it. Simultaneously, we'll be passing a town ordinance which makes it illegal to sell it and consume it. We're also working on a no smoking on Town Green and other kind of town of Barnstable controlled areas to prohibit it, because in order to ingest it, you have to smoke it. But in the event that all of these things fall apart or we need more vigilance, we asked different parts of community interest groups, primarily the Civic Association, as I had said, BID is one of them as well, to keep a watchful eye on the businesses that may or may not be selling it and to follow up. And so we are, as a group, I believe we're prepared if we need to have the Civic Association picket. We're prepared to have BID provide advertising for the businesses that do comply to show them that they can make money in other ways besides selling spice. We're also prepared to alert the media if a store is selling spice and hurting kids in our community. So it's a very grassroots effort because we can't roll it down from the top. And the reason we can is because the components in synthetic marijuana or spice are constantly changing. So the chemical components are very, very hard to nail down legally. So this ordinance will help with that. There are other communities that have done it. We very rarely invent the wheel in Barnstable. We usually borrow from other communities that have success, and that's what we've done with this ordinance. But pending that, it's just important to know that we have a watchful eye community-wide on stores that we feel, might be hurting our kids.
So a big issue in the community, and the Youth Commission is right there with local civic associations and the Barnstable Town Council and the police department and working on this issue. And
together.
So that's really maybe a change for the Youth Commission to be so involved on a major project. What are some of the other things the Youth Commission might be doing going forward? Do you have some ideas, Brendan, coming up in the next year or so?
Well, I know that we want to do the Youth Summit, and last year we had the opportunity to do some homeless surveys. So we might look at something on the homeless side of things. But, we're always looking for anything new, and we're always looking for kids to bring things large and small to our attention that require a youthful voice. So we're looking to help out in any way that we can.
Tell me what the homeless survey is.
It was a survey that the state issued just to collect information about the youth populace back in January about how many children are homeless in the town.
Tell me how the Youth Commission went about working on that.
We just went to local areas, went to the HYCC, and walked around and asked students to fill out the survey if they knew anyone who was homeless, if they themselves were homeless, and the anonymous reports were submitted to the state.
Now, I noticed on a recent agenda it looked like you were working on a new Massachusetts general law.
With that particular law, what we're looking to do, and especially I believe Representative Whalen is looking to do, is to broaden it so that protective custody can extend to drugs beyond alcohol. So if someone is wasted in public and they're on spice, they can be arrested for their own good. Right now, we don't have that law. We don't have it for heroin. We don't have it for cocaine. We have it only for alcohol. So that's what the law is hoping to do, is kind of broaden the spectrum of the ways you can use that law. And so I would think that from the Youth Commission's perspective, I don't want to speak for these guys, but I would say that, anything to make our community safer is where we want to go with it. And people who are high on spice are very volatile. Oftentimes, they're very violent. Oftentimes, and I think it would only serve to help. So I think that's what the crux of that proposal was.
And Matthew, are there any particular initiatives that you're interested in the Youth Commission getting involved with, or maybe there are elements of the Youth Summit that you want to get more involved in?
Not specifically, but in regards to the spice, that's definitely a huge danger in this town because First of all, at the moment, it's legal to buy, so it's easier for children in our town to get their hands on, and therefore it's a huge danger to our community.
Do you guys hear about it at the high school at all? Are some of the students involved with it?
I have not heard anything about spice in the hallways, but drugs themselves are a frequent topic of conversation. And I think if it hasn't reached that level yet, if nothing is done, it will be very easy for it to reach that level.
Now, I think some of our listeners, perhaps parents or grandparents of students who might want to know how they could get involved with the Barnstable Youth Commission if they live in the town of Barnstable. Is it for any kids in the town, or is it just Barnstable High School? How do people get involved?
Any kids in the town, any school, and I believe Jen is working on some corrections to allow students who don't live in the town but attend school in the town to also contribute. You can come to the HYCC and the Recreation Office, and you can see Patty Machado. I'm sure she'd be happy to give you a form.
You can also go to the town website, though, and get an application for a board or committee there.
And in the final sort of half a minute, Jen, I think it's quite remarkable. The Youth Commission much more involved this year than in past years. Any final thoughts on that?
It's great. We got to keep the ball rolling. I mean, this is their community too, and I'm really, really happy that we have such an active youth commission and that we're reaching out constantly. We're always reaching out, trying to find more people, and that was part of the premise of having the seventh graders too. Is that we had a kind of a captive audience there. We could ask people to apply and join, but really, I'd like it to be known that whatever issues are affecting the youth, whether it's LGBT things or whatever, the Youth Commission is ready to listen and ready to move on it. And I think that we're motivated and we're not mired in anything. We're happy to tackle issues and move forward with them. So if there's any interest out there, we would certainly entertain new members. And I would love to have to go to the town council for approval to push it to 25 members from 13. That'd be fantastic. So
lots of exciting things going on with the Barnstable Youth Commission. And unfortunately, we're out of time. I've been talking to Brendan Clark and Matthew Hersey from the Barnstable Youth Commission and Jen Cullum, a Barnstable Town Councilor. Thank you all for being with me here today.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you so much.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.